one door opens and another door gets even opener. How's it going, guys? My name is Andrew. This is Professor Meatball. It is 6:30 a.m. in the morning, but I am here with you, checking out the charts, making sure we understand the big market movers. Good morning, all of you guys. I'm going to go through each one of your live stream comments over on the left-hand side, but I'm also going to talk about the most important technical analysis you need to understand today, the most important investment news you need to understand today, but also you get to see Professor Meatball get a treat every 50 likes. You guys are already going on those likes. I really do appreciate that. If we haven't had a chance to be well acquainted, my name is Andrew. I'm a data scientist here in Silicon Valley. You guys are you, and that's all you need to be. I appreciate all of you for just who you are. Got my amazing roommate, just got me some water. God, I love water. And we're going to get started with a little bit of technical analysis on GameStop. You guys are probably with me the entire time, the 8.5 hours. I know it to be true. And I was pretty tired at the end of that whole debacle, the whole having a lot of our all-star representative nation go on and just tear a new one with a lot of the people that have been villains in our GameStop saga. Some of the people included the CEO, Robinhood, Vlad Tenev, but also we included Mr. Griffin, the CEO of Citadel, and Mr. Plotkin, who is the CIO of Melvin Capital. All those guys had a lot of questions to answer, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. They had a lot of stuff to cover. We are going to talk about exactly what the implications are of their talks. We're going to talk about why GameStop had a dip in the later parts of the hearing yesterday, and of course why an oversold stock seems to have made a small rebound. We can always see the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, on right next to my face to the left. That is in the bottom part of the line. It just tells us a little sense of bearish and bullish momentum right now. We saw at the end of the trading day, it ended under 30, which means it is an oversold stock. Right? We like the stock, and we can't bear to have it oversold. So that's why it had a momentous rebound above 30 this morning, and seeing its price rise by 1% already. That's good news. We like that. That is why we like the stock. I'm going to get set up a little bit. We're going to wait for a little more people to show up. I'm going to have your free BlockFi link right here. Make sure to get your 250 naughty Bitcoin. Entirely free if you start transferring all of your precious life savings into BlockFi like I do. I can't give any financial advice, of course, as you guys know. On this channel, we never give any financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But what I can advise is different ways for you guys to save money. And one of the best ways is to make sure that you take advantage of these deals on your left. Okay. So we got a couple of thoughts. We got refrigeration mechanic. Good morning. And no, it won't. GameStop is dead. CCIV is the way to go. Man, we're going to have to do a little bit of technical analysis on both. Let's go talk about CCIV and its merger with Lucid Motors. Grant says, then go to CCIV. We're fine with GME. Austin says, we want Mo and Meatball. Of course, I think Meatball is the main star of the show. So that's why I totally don't mind. I'm Meatball's apprentice talking to you guys directly through his mouthpiece. We got Money, but not Mo Money over here. We got Money says, I don't think GameStop will recover. If it does, it won't be a great percentage. The huge squeeze was because of all the hype after it got viral. Too many people holding who don't want to get any more losses. Now, that is actually a big mental barrier we need to cover, which is that, sometimes the stock has trouble with making a level of resistance become a new level of support. Well, the level of resistance can never be a level of support if it never passes that level of resistance. For example, if it has trouble getting past $1,000. Now, that was a lot of the trouble of how Bitcoin having passed 50,000, Google stock and Amazon stock having to pass $1,000. Like, that is That is honestly a tricky way for the human brain to have to think about, okay, well, I'm going to pass here, but what if I go over here? Will a lot of people sell? Trying to predict when people sell is the biggest way that people end up losing money. Now, speaking of Bitcoin, I actually do want to cover it. It is really peaking today. It is heading over to 53,000. If you haven't started transferring over your life savings like me into Bitcoin, I think that would be a pretty fun thing to do. Of course, not financial advice. Let's keep going because we got so many people talking. We got John P. We got Matthew Choi, who still thinks Gme has great squeeze potential. We got Steve Lurvy. How's it going? Good morning. Pew Pew says CTRM 1,400% shorted shares. Got to look at CTRM in a second. Terabad says, let's get this bread. Of course. What's up, Terabad Gamer? Nimbus Nguyen says, wait, we're making money off of this? I thought we were just donating money away when I bought GME shares. You know, that's not a bad idea either. Anton says he forgot to wake up. No, I'm here. I was just setting up. You see, I even shaved. You can see the high definition picture. We got Powmaster says somebody wake him and give him some warm coffee. I almost didn't wake up. I was just trying my best. It is really early right now. You see all the cool lights in the background. It's because it's dark enough for you to see them. Joey Amor says to the moon. What's up? Good morning, Alejandro. Good morning, Deus Payne. Smash that like button. Of course, we already got past 60 likes, which means Meatball gets his first treat. There you go. There you go, buddy. That's what he's here for. That's what he's in the money for. That's what we're going on for. Nimbus says, Meatball, my dog. Hey, that makes sense. Colton says, Meatball time. You guys know it. Sean says, does anyone think the Hastings hearings yesterday will change anything? That's what we're here to talk about. I do have a lot of specific hearing news to make sure that it becomes incredibly clear. We're going to make it as clear as possible for you guys to make sure that we don't miss a single thing. Mohmita Roy, good morning, Andrew. Wayne Thompson, we already have a snack from Taha. Morning treat 1. I missed the second half of the hearing. Well, that's why I'm going to have to summarize it for you guys. That hearing went on for 5.5 hours. We had a lot of representatives had to talk. And I think representatives had an easy time. They all had 5 minutes each, so they could have gotten like a hot pocket and call it a day. But every single panelist of our 6 panelists, we had a lot of stuff that they had to cover. Itachi says everything was blood red yesterday. Well, it looks a lot greener today. So it doesn't seem like the market is quite ready yet to shut down and burst. Monday is the day. I want to make bank, bro. Be careful. I'm going to make a statement right here, and then we're going to have fun for the rest of the day. If you are betting in this high-risk environment, these are bets, not safe investments. So never, ever bet more than you are willing to safely lose. Everyone says that every day, Jason. Give us some good news. Michael Petoskey, I got good news for y'all. Let's make sure that we are looking through the GME and AMC corner. We do have some news about Palantir. I do want to look at Swaggy Stocks just to corroborate this story. It's coming straight out of the woodwork. Palantir from Benzinga. Palantir replaces GameStop as WallStreetBets top interest. That's a bit of a GameStop bummer, but Palantir, you know, it is popular. It is super popular. Oh yeah, Wall Street right now is buzzing with Palantir. What I got here is Swaggy Stocks. It just shows you whether or not you agree with Swaggy Stocks or not. It just shows you what is happening with WallStreetBets and its amount of sentiment that is perusing the air. Anything like WeBull for Canadians? I'm using Wealthsimple, but they don't let you buy all the stocks. Good question. I wonder why WeBull isn't allowed for Canadians. James says, I love the picture of deep effing value. Wall saying, hang in there with his headband. Honestly, he did that. That was fan service. He's our first anime protagonist of the entire nation. We got 2 bros here. Meatball in the morning. Oh, thank you for joining us. Doge is not dead. What is the volume of Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin honestly has institutions behind it now. So one of the bigger question is, why aren't you putting your volume into Bitcoin? Really important question. It is the future. I'm very bullish on crypto, as you can see. Austin says, thanks for the DFV edit. Was nice to watch it all together. DFV was very underutilized yesterday. Good thing that he is being better utilized today. Michael Rose says, have you looked at TTNT? Seems to have rocketed over the last few days and then calmed down. I do take stock ticker tips, so if you guys have one, I do want to be able to cover it. TTNP. Titan Pharma. Pharmaceutical companies are going to be really fun to cover, especially. So what we have here in the purple, we're going to have a macro view of the daily chart first. All right. Mostly bearish momentum trending downwards. The RSI is seeming to be in a middling. RSI seems to be middling right now as we start to trade sideways, try to reach a point of resistance at 4.4. This would be a cool and interesting analysis, actually. Let's just see if there's any interesting news attached to it. Sorry, you guys couldn't see that, but this is what we're looking at. Titan Pharma. DJ Titan Pharma Pharmaceuticals raised to buy from hold by Maxim Group. Okay, interesting. As of right now, this seems like it's mostly trending downwards in terms of momentum. On the purple graph, we have the 200-day exponential moving average, gives us a macro view of exactly what the bearish and bullish momentum are. And in the blue, we have 15-day moving average, which is going to be a little bit of a micro view of the momentum. As of right now, it seems to be trading sideways. If we even on the daily view, it seems like it blew up maybe in early 2020. It doesn't seem like if this is the small dip rise that you're looking for. It had a level of support at 3.5. It broke out here, and then it hit 4.4. That's only really a 25% up. Of course, Sundial, all of the weed stocks is getting us a weird sense of how quickly stocks can rise and fall. We can look into some news for this in a second, but let's keep talking. We got Pokemon Sip and Rip mentioning he wants to do VIOT. Broseph says Swaggy Stocks is unreliable considering bots. Remember that. Be careful about that. It is a good finger in the air, though. Big J says, good morning, family. What's going on, Big J? Taha says, when a DFV says it is not a cat. Very true. UAMY still in the limelight. Let's talk about that. DFV said that he would buy GME at 45 and it was an attractive opportunity. Hey, DFV was with us the entire time. He was saying that he would buy. Will it be, Austin says, will it be Bitcoin for Will or a secondary moon crypto? I'm assuming this question is about whether or not Bitcoin is going to moon before the other cryptos. I'm not sure if mooning is the best way to represent Bitcoin, but it does have potential to go up much higher than 50 grand, which is what it is right now. Let me add a live to this so that people are like, whoa, live. Bitcoin rally over 53K. It really is almost there, 53K. Christopher Kowal. James Rudy says, good morning, Andrew and Meatball. I believe in GME still holding either hero or zero. As long as you guys are familiar with the fact that zero is a possibility, this is good. Tingle Goblin, our resident lawyer, he says the Swaggy Stocks cover sentiment in any of the Wall Street Bets breakout groups. Wall Street Bets hasn't been talking too much about GME anymore. That is the unfortunate side effect, is that we don't have a lot of sentiment about any of the other new true ape groups, such as our GME or our Wall Street Bets New. Or our AMC, but we do have a lot of conversation about Palantir. Let's make sure that we give Palantir a little bit of sight. Right now, it seems like it is still trading sideways, heavily discounted. Oh, and this morning it actually did go up a tiny bit. The momentum seems to be rising upward. Now, a lot of the conversation, if you guys remember from before, this peak in conversation did not indicate that Palantir was actually going to go upward. This association was only because of the price spike beforehand, and now with the falling price, it also pushed down the amount of sentiment that we wanted to talk about Palantir. Now, right now, the Palantir sentiment is the highest it has been, reaching the same peaks as 2 days ago. However, the price is as low as it's ever been, at least for the short-term period, which is surprising since this is all anyone can talk about. Taha says, DFV, because we're always improving. Taha, Congressman, why are you sorry about? That was funny. When there was a congressperson that was trying to apologize to Mr. Melvin for the Holocaust. Don't think it was the congressperson's fault, so I don't think he can apologize for it. Have a look into Sensonics Medical. Yeah, I did an entire analysis on Sensonics. Go ahead and check out that video on my channel right now. Let's see. Just tuning in. Will GME recover? I think GME was oversold a ton, and the RSI specifically also reflected that. Let's go back to the minute look. So the RSI dipped below 30, oversold stock at the end of yesterday, the 18th. As soon as markets opened, jumped right back up, and the relative strength index. And it shows that GME is still a force to be reckoned with. If you want to see a realistic pricing of GME, I have that on my channel as well. It's because GME is a stock with realistic value, not just the meme value that everyone keeps talking about. Now let's see if there's any particular GameStop news. It seems like Melvin Capital adapting strategy after GameStop mania. This is getting tricky. Let's make sure that we read this because a little bit of news for your morning is the Andrew Mo money promise. Melvin Capital adapting strategy after GameStop mania. As hedge funds rethink short selling methods. Let me move the mic a little closer to my mouth. This is what Printer Boy right here. This is what Mr. Plotkin looked like yesterday during the hearing. Had an entirely empty office with some cabinets. What are inside your cabinets, Melvin? And a lone printer. Let's see. Huh. Come on, CNBC. CNBC, you're so annoying. I'm going to have to look at Yahoo News instead. Okay. Long tense with cat photo for relief. How the GameStop hearing unfolded. Tension, irate questions, people talking over one another, and a cat photo. Thursday's 5-hour+ U.S. congressional hearing on GameStop had all of that as top hedge fund managers, the head of Robinhood, and Roaring Kitty himself answered a barrage of questions over who was at fault in January's trading frenzy. As a reminder, I did read everybody's testimony before the GameStop saga actually started. So if you want to see that, that was in yesterday's live stream. GameStop rose more than 1,000% during 2 weeks as retail traders using the Reddit platform encourage each other to pile on, sucking it to the hedge fund managers who were short the stock, a bet that GameStop would fall. The trade deflated, however, after online brokerage Robinhood and several other brokers controversially restricted buying GameStop shares, leaving retail investors frustrated but capping the losses for the hedge funds. Robinhood owns what happened, and we need to make sure it doesn't happen again. Said Mr. Skinny Adam Driver, the CEO Vlad Tenev, who appeared to field the most questions at the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Financial Services hearing. I think it's somewhere between him and Mr. Griffin. Keith Gill, a Reddit user and YouTube streamer known as Roaring Kitty, who had boosted the stock with his videos about how undervalued this company was, provided a more lighthearted exterior. Now, one of the pieces about his testimony that I'm not sure he covered just enough was the fact that he was entirely he wasn't that big on YouTube. Like, there are larger YouTube live streamers. And in his testimony, he said that he never had more than a couple dozen people at the same time. And he had less than a few hundred subscribers. So this is something that's really important to note. GME is moving on up. Make sure that we keep an eye on that. It is in the corner as always. Colton Brown says, found Fruity Pebble coffee creamer last night. Thanks for sharing. That sounds that sounds very fruity. Gil sat in a red video gaming chair, that was right, from which he recorded many videos promoting his investment in GameStop. Displayed behind him was a poster of a kitten with the caption, "Hang in there." Many investors who bought GameStop at the price skyrocketed now face deep losses. Bag holder number 1 right here. Speaking as much to his social media followers as to the lawmakers, Gil said, "I like the stock," a phrase that has become a rallying cry on Reddit, where commenters watching the hearing cheered him on, calling him a savior and a hero. I was really considering calling the compilation video, calling him a savior, but I guess then they would have pegged me in the right hole. Hedge fund managers Gabe Plotkin, whose Melvin Capital lost 53% in January in GameStop frenzy, and Ken Griffin, who built both Citadel LLC and market-making business Citadel Securities, also spoke. The hearing was led by Representative Maxine Waters, chair of the Democratic-led panel, who is a critic of Wall Street and in January called hedge funds unethical. So that's why she was a little haughty and a little rude at times, but she made sure the gavel came down at the appropriate times. Some lawmakers questioning the witnesses at times cut them off in frustration at not getting quick, clear answers. At the end, Waters promised to hold more hearings with testimony from regulators at the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. I'm sure that they're much better at cutting off people in person, but at this point they've had a year to practice cutting off people in Zoom. Honestly, I think a couple of them were really good at it. She said that she was more concerned than ever that retail investors were being taken advantage of and that large market makers such as Citadel Securities could pose a threat to the financial system. Republicans on the panel also sought to burnish their consumer protection credentials, making them a fiery virtual hearing featuring echoes, feedback, and background noise. Now, if I didn't support this, I would definitely leave my microphone on. So maybe they did know what they were doing by trying to leave their microphone on. Okay. UAMY begun trading today. Let's actually look at UAMY. U.S. antimony. Wow. Can I look into that? Okay, so this is we see that the 200-day EMA is trying to track upward because the lift is just very recent. Maybe a week ago, we started with a breakout point of 80 cents, and now it is all the way up to $1.20. That's a rise of 40% roughly, and 20% on the 24-hour today. That is really good. So United States Antimony receives warning letter. Let's see, 43 stocks moving. Let me read some actual news. Antimony oxide nanopowders. So this is just like a chemical-based company. United States Antimony signs non-binding letter of interest. Okay. I would definitely keep an eye on this right now. It is highly overbought. Its RSI has been over 70 for an entire week. So that is something to be careful with. If you're trying to catch a train that has already left its station, you can easily get burnt, just like the sundial situation and the Tilray situation, right? This might not be in the same industry as weed, but if you had any part in trying to chase GameStop, for example, and if you're like me, you know what it's like to end up holding a bag. Does Meatball think the squeeze is closed? Meatball, what do you think? You think 5 more likes until he gets a treat? Okay, that's what he thinks. Meatball, it's okay. It's just people who live in this house. Let's see. Adrian says, could you explain why GME started to tank yesterday? Yeah, of course. I explained a little bit towards the yesterday's end of the live stream, but what we wanted to note here is that, wow, that's the daily view. Wow, remember when that was a beautiful, beautiful daily view. One of the things to make note of is that when I'm going to do the 30-minute view, actually that's not even that great, 5-minute view. All right, so early, this is 12 p.m. is when the hearing started. Now, when the hearing didn't start off with a big blast, it started to meet a level of support at $43. When it started to break out was exactly when Roaring Kitty took the stand and started talking about his testimony. That rose the price of the stock up 10%. So it was started at $43 or something, close, and it went all the way up to 48. If you wanted to watch the live stream and check it out for reals, that was amazing. Then when he got off the stage, people realized that this was not a big enough catalyst to squeeze. So right now, the biggest reason why GME tanked is because people thought that there was going to be more. It's the opportunity cost of the hearing not pulling enough weight to cause a squeeze to happen. So it caused a massive sell-off. When we had that sell-off, we try to meet a level of higher resistance. Now this would usually be a really good sign. We're looking for a bullish pennant of a level of support and then a level of resistance that's higher, level of support that's higher, bouncing up and down. Volatility is a good thing in this case since we're trying to cause a squeeze, and that when the hearing started to go sideways and people tried to attack Robinhood more than actually talking about Melvin Capital, who are the actual instigators in this mess, it ended up being that we couldn't hold the momentum. A pretty massive sell-off started to happen, and we dropped from a point of resistance at $45 all the way down to $40, which is down 5. That is roughly 5 out of 45, 1/9, or roughly 8 to 10%. But it seems to be up roughly 3% this morning. I'm going to keep keeping an eye on GameStop, but making sure that you guys understand there's a lot more that the hearing could end up doing for GameStop. What we want to understand is that the hearing had a message, and the message was that the regulators would be slow. Right, a lot of Democrats try to pitch a transaction tax. Easy to remember, TAX, right? Transaction tax. That is something that is going to probably need to have support from both sides of the aisle. Unfortunately, that's not going to be a short-term solution. And so with no short-term solution, it doesn't seem like that squeeze is going to happen anytime soon. A lot of people started to sell off. Joshua, do not. I'm trying to explain right now, but try not to spam the chat. Matthew says, really think the hearing yesterday missed bigger points about FTDs and the role of DTCC. That's true. Let us actually look at GME failure to delivers. See if we have some DD on that today. Yesterday I tried to type as softly as I possibly could. Okay, we got some SEC data. Let's actually look at this. This is from Yahoo Finance. We got SEC data shows $359 million of GameStop shares failure to deliver. Okay, so GameStop appeared on SEC list every day at the end of January. Oh, GameStop. I haven't been to a physical GameStop in a long time. Bloomberg, on January 28th, the day after GameStop core mania hit its crescendo on the back of a short squeeze for the record books, about $359 million worth of shares were caught in limbo. More than 1 million shares were deemed failed to deliver that day due to either the buyers lacking cash to complete purchases or sellers not having the shares to settle trades, according to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission data. Now, that was what we were trying to accomplish. We were trying to get to a point where there was so few shares in circulation that we would have to trigger a squeeze. Now, what happened that decided that this was not supposed to happen? Well, let's find out. Make sure that this makes a little bit more sense. There we go. The SEC report, which covers trading from January 15th through the end of the month. Actually, this is a really good report. Let me just check. Let me just do a quick intro. Okay. What's going on, you guys? This is Andrew with Meatball here, and we have some coffee in the morning. We got some lights in the background. We want to talk about how the failures to deliver data still is showing. SEC data shows $359 million of GameStop shares failed to deliver. Let us look into exactly what that means. If you guys like this content, make sure to smash that like button for Meatball, and let's get going without wasting any more time. On January 28th, the day after GameStop core mania hit its crescendo on the back of a short squeeze for the record books, about $359 million worth of shares were caught in limbo. More than 1 million shares were deemed failed to deliver that day due to either buyers lacking cash to complete purchases or sellers not having the shares to settle trades, according to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission data, SEC data. Now, the SEC report, which covers trading from January 15th to the end of the month, is just one indication of the dislocation in the market for the video game retailers' shares. GameStop stock for months among the most heavily shorted on the New York Stock Exchange surged more than 1,700% from January 1st through January 27th as a legion of Reddit users piled on, forcing bearish traders to scramble for shares and brokers to take the highly unusual step of curbing trading. Now, that was all discussed in yesterday's hearing. If you guys haven't seen what Deep Effing Validating or Roaring Kitty has to say, I put a compilation of everything he had to say in one video, and also how the Robinhood CEO just got destroyed by certain representatives, including Rashida Tlaib and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Now, while the SEC's list highlights the extent of the short squeeze on Reddit's WallStreetBets forum, where the GameStop trade was galvanized, it's evidence of something else: the unproven theory that hedge funds were engaged in naked short selling of the shares. Short sales are when an investor borrows shares, and I explained this with dog food if you guys want to see an even simpler explanation, sells them and then tries to buy them back at a lower price to profit from the difference. Now, an everyday market occurrence, naked short selling, the illegal practice of selling shares that aren't known to exist, is just one possible cause of failure to deliver. With more than quotidian reasons for being human error and administrative delays. Fails to deliver can occur for a number of reasons on both long and short sales, reads a disclaimer on the SEC website. Therefore, fails to deliver are not necessarily the result of short selling and are not evidence of abusive short selling or naked short selling. Failures to deliver can result in fines, losses, as well as reputational harm, and in rare circumstances, there's also a risk that they could lead to a reduction of market liquidity. One thing is clear: the Grapevine, Texas-based company is an anomaly in the data. Ranked by the dollar value of traded shares that couldn't be delivered, a sum that was influenced by the ballooning price of GameStop shares, it was the only company to appear multiple times in the top 10 during the period. And it was only one of two companies, the other being Li Auto Inc., to feature atop a list dominated by exchange-traded funds. The data, which is released twice a month, tracks securities that had at least 10,000 shares that failed to deliver on a regular basis. The total number of shares for each day is a cumulative number of all fails outstanding until that day, plus new fails that occurred that day, less fails that settled that day, according to SEC's website. About 2.1 million GameStop shares failed to deliver on January 26th before falling to 138,000 on January 29th, the day after Robinhood and other brokerages began restricting trading in so-called meme stocks. Stonks. Hopefully that clears up a little bit of what you were looking into in terms of failure to deliver. But if you guys wanted to ask me live questions, the live stream is the best way to do it. I try to live stream every single morning. And I'm going to go back to that now. Smash that like button if you care to, and follow me, subscribe for more. All right, let's go back to the live chat. People are asking Sundial, what's up, Jaspreet? Typing sound is ASMR, thank you. Hope you mean that in a good way. Oh no, they're multiplying. The Gregs made their way in here. No, positively, we all love each other. Top Hui says, I wonder if they will point out the matching chart patterns of AMC and Gme. They really could have. But honestly, anything that kind of matches that, like evidence-less, correlation-based sleuthing, is going to probably make their cheese curdle when it comes to what the representatives can safely allege. Joshua says, do you guys love that I invested into GameStop? We support your decision, whatever it is. Terabad Gamer says, sitting there debating yeeting my AMC shares to buy a few more shares in GME, but don't want to have all my eggs in one basket in case AMC then rockets up. Stress. Don't be stressed out. Just remember, never bet more than you're comfortable losing, right? It's very uncomfortable to lose like a couple $1,000s, right? But in that case, you should start considering putting most of your money in blue chips, right? Things that are just generally assumed to have to go up: Apple, Amazon, even the Facebook at a lesser extent. But at this rate in time, be really careful with these stocks, especially if the market is bursting the next couple days. Tingle says, Colton says, the block is heavy today. Tingle says, I'm waiting for the squeeze catalyst to be some kind of announcement from GameStop about what they're planning to do with the company. Honestly, I would love that. in terms of Cohen at the helm, I don't think that he has actually said much, which is very annoying. CEO Ken Griffin, okay, Mr. Griffin, what do you have in your cabinets? Where are the interns? How many interns are in your room today? Hedge fund manager Plotkin's GameStop short dissected. Well, a lot of you already understand the GameStop short situation. If you don't, make sure to ask me so that I can give you a quick sense. JT Rose says, we lack. Joshua, stop it. What about a rundown of Sensonics? Well, I can do another Sensonics breakdown, but it's going to be very similar to the 10-minute breakdown I had on my channel. Just go back like 3 videos and you'll see it. TSNP, UAMY, both rocketing at the moment. Let's take a look. I was just looking at UAMY. So UAMY is up 16% right now. TNSP. Sorry, that's TSNP is up. How much? 43%. Wow. Wow-wee. So that is highly overbought. Do not try to chase this train. This is not financial advice, of course. You can do whatever you want, but I would be wary to chase this train. As we see, the moving average is trying to drastically run to try to catch up to the exponential moving average. This is generally not a good sign if you're trying to make fast and good investments. Let's see if there's any news. Investor place. What's going on with blockchain play Tesoro Enterprises? Let us make sure that you guys are caught up with Tesoro Enterprises, and then I can do a technical analysis. How long is this? It's pretty long. Okay, you guys ready? I'm gonna do some technical analysis on TSNP Dynamite. I need to move this microphone. All right, we're gonna go back to talking about GameStop in just a second, but bear with me. I'm gonna make some charts. Oh wow, maybe it's because it fell off so like a ton. Let's see, parallel lines. Hold on. Parallel lines. Can you make this parallel, please? Parallel. Benny and the Jets. Making these lines all day. Oh, that's not very straight. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, I don't know how to do. I do want to redo these lines though, because it's very annoying. Yes, there we go. Beautiful. That's the 5 minute, 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute, 1 hour. Okay, here we go. Ready, guys? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here we go. How's it going, guys? My name is Andrew. I'm a data scientist here in Silicon Valley. That is Professor Meatball, and today we're going to talk about TSNP, or Tesoro Enterprises. We're not only going to cover a lot of the technical analysis that you are looking for in terms of a data scientist perspective, but also we're going to cover a couple of news about what exactly is happening with Tesoro Enterprises, and you guys are not going to want to miss out. Make sure to watch until the end. Make sure to smash that like button so that other apes just like you can find information just like this, and let's dive directly into it. Let's not waste any time. Right now, all I have drawn here is in the teal lines above. These are parallel lines that are trying to tell you the levels of support and resistance. So we're just trying to match where Tesoro is going to have trouble trying to pass in the recent historical past. In terms of how recent we want to go in historical past, that's going to take a micro view in the 1 minute and 5 minute charts, and then we're going to go to the 1 hour, and then we're going to go to the daily charts, where we're going to see a lot of different movement. Now, what you can see here is on the very bottom, we have the relative strength index. That's a great indicator of bullish and bearish momentum. That's just telling you whether or not it's oversold or overbought. However, one of the other ways that we're going to be able to track momentum is with the purple line here, which is going to be exponential moving average. It's a macro view of exactly what TSNP is doing, and the blue line, which is a micro view, that is a 15-day moving average. Now, one of the things that I wanted to also mention is that, and not every story is complete without some news, so that's why I wanted to be able to cover a little bit of what is going on from another investor's point of view, and public perception is everything, so that's why we're going to read this article in just a second. But first, let's do that technical analysis. One of the things that we'll notice here is that the lines that I've drawn in the macro sense, let's do a 5-minute view. In the micro sense is that we have a level of sideways trading here where there is a middling RSI. So that means that this is going to be a place that Tesoro has struggled to try and pass in the place before. This ended up being a place of resistance, and it continued to go downward. The lowest level of support it has ever gotten was at 75 cents. And since then, it has risen to one final level of resistance that has now become support at 80 cents. It is now trading at $1.90, which coincidentally is where it's second to last. See, this is the level of resistance at 96 cents, and this is the level of resistance at $1.07. Now it is struggling to make it past this last barrier. Now, rightfully so, because as of right now, the RSI is $87, which means it is being overbought. So right now, be careful to try to chase a train that already seems to be leaving the station. Be very careful not to get burned on the other side. One of the other things is that we are noticing that there are higher highs that we can try and reach, and let's go ahead and zoom out so that we can see a macro view. The exponential moving average is trending upwards, trying to reach the 15-day moving average. Now, one of the things that you wanted to notice is that even at the peak of its price, its RSI actually wasn't above 70, which means it wasn't overbought. Now, that wasn't able to convince the market that it needed. It wasn't in time due for a sell-off. This major sell-off happened on the 9th, and from $1.58, it tumbled to one level of support at $1.40. So that is a tumble of roughly 20 cents, which means it's roughly an eighth. So that's like 7 to 8%, and then it traded sideways for a tiny bit until it tumbled again to a lower level of resistance at $1.30. That's only 15 cents, so that's actually even a smaller percentage of downwards spiraling selling off. But then when it gets to $1.07, this is where it seems to have dipped below the RSI of 30, and that's a threshold that indicates to us that it is oversold. Once correcting in its path, it is now starting to move upwards again. Let's look at the 1 minute to see exactly how the minute by minute graph is showing indications of this red candle, which means that people are still skittish, people still are prone to sell off. So be really careful, because it is reaching its another level of previous resistance, and we do not want it to fall back down starting at this level, which is $1.90. You see how it's afraid to try and move past. When it tried to move past to $1.13, it had a quick sell off again. It's as if the investors know exactly what to expect. And if you had this tool, you probably would be able to draw these exact same lines. And this tool, of course, is WeBull. It is entirely free. Go and check out the description down below to get out of Robinhood and start using a much more sophisticated app that is also intuitive to understand, as well as getting 2 free stocks on top of that. I think you'll like that. The description is down below. Of course, no story is complete without some news, so let's go ahead and read some news. On Tuesday, Tesoro Enterprises announced its plans to move into blockchain trading markets. With shares already up 200%, this is on the peak of its rise, penny stock investors will likely see more gains as Wall Street punters rush in. Don't assume long-term success. See, it's already saying, like, there you go. This is like as if Nostradamus was telling the future. Very few penny stocks ever vault themselves into the big leagues, and Tesoro doesn't exactly have a great resume either. But if you're looking to nurse your GameStop and AMC losses, this flash stock has it all. How dare you? How dare you? Losses? They're not losses until I realize them. A well-timed press release in the market that's starving for blockchain investments, a charismatic CEO who can talk the talk, a crypto market that's too hot to handle. And if you have worries that you are about to get left behind in the crypto trading world, go ahead and get your $250 of naughty Bitcoin entirely free from BlockFi. And that is investment in your future. Bitcoin is the future. TSNP stock isn't for the faint-hearted. Just a month ago, Tesoro Enterprises was an unknown penny stock that claimed to focus on the delivery of construction materials for the commercial and residential marketplaces. The last time the company reported figures to the SEC was in 2012, showing just $360,000 of revenues and a negative 50% profit margin. But then management did something quite brilliant. After merging with Humble in December, the company launched a press release last Tuesday renaming itself Humble Financial and claiming to create a way for investors to invest in ETF-styled blockchain technology. Shares shot up to 40 cents to $1.40 by the end of the week, and some might rightly wonder if it's a pump and dump. And now historically we have realized that it was very similar to a pump and dump. Josh, don't spam the live chat, please. Is Humble blockchain for real? It's entirely unclear what a company that delivers construction materials has to do with crypto investing, or why a crypto company would merge with a construction penny stock. That hasn't stopped the San Diego-based company from trying. In the press release, the company claimed it would release non-custodial, algorithmically driven financial technology services that allow customers to purchase and hold digital assets in preset allocations through their exchange accounts. In plain English, that means the company will help you invest in an ETF-style bucket of cryptocurrencies, but it won't do it itself. Instead, it will rely on your existing exchange accounts to allocate trades. Presumably, that's because the company's original mission of running an exchange-traded fund was a little too hard. The SEC has rejected the far better-funded Gemini ETF's proposal twice already, so it's not surprising that Humble also has faced similar roadblocks. A non-custodial app, meanwhile, is much easier to launch. That's not to say Humble won't eventually develop a Web3 platform that will allow you to invest, trade, track, and pay in more synthetic ways on the blockchain, as it claims it will. Well, that's likely years away if it ever happens at all. So, will the TSNP stock go up? This is a good point to tell you that I am not a financial advisor. None of this can be construed as financial advice. It's all for entertainment, and I hope you have a good day. That doesn't mean TSNP stock can't bounce in the meantime. Investors are starved for good cryptocurrency stocks. Marathon Patent Group has a long history of fraud and misrepresentation. Riot Blockchain CEO, meanwhile, has been investigated by the SEC for microcap fraud. That makes any legitimate-sounding company with the word blockchain have potential for massive gains. Whether actual legitimate or not, it doesn't matter much when the market's this hot. And with enough retail investor-fueled momentum, the penny stock could raise enough money to become a self-driving force in the cryptocurrencies. Long Island blockchain, meet $40,000 Bitcoin. And remember $40,000 Bitcoin? 2018, the Long Island iced tea core, a ready-to-drink tea company, rebranded itself to Long Blockchain Core. Shares shot up 200%, proof that investors would jump in first and ask questions later. And then it would get delisted later. So that was the classic pump and dump. Fortunately, Humble looks a little better prepared than its tea-producing predecessor, with an actual team of engineers, supposedly, and $2.5 million of funding, also supposedly. This company might yet pull off America's first blockchain ETF. Hopefully, the company will update its financials with the SEC in the meantime. And if it fails, well, not all is lost. In a crypto market this hot, it could rebrand itself as a cryptocurrency play and keep watching investors rush in. Just don't be there if or when the market falls out of Bitcoin. On the data publication, this person did not have any positions in securities mentioned in this article. Neither do I, which is an important thing to note. Make sure that you understand that we are talking directly about this stock in terms of technical analysis and as well as the news. If you guys are looking into cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin has seen massive rallies today. It just peaked over $53,000. It's at $53,200 this morning. So if you guys haven't had a chance to go ahead and jump on that Bitcoin train, go ahead and get $250 free of Bitcoin. Go get it soon, because it's just rising higher and higher with that BlockFi link down below. And make sure you guys subscribe and like this video. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys for the next analysis. Peace. All right. Joshua's back again. Joshua, I'm gonna have to hide you for today. I'll let you come back later. Oh, I can put you in timeout. Did that work? Okay. You're in timeout. Let's bring the chat back. As always, I'm gonna try and make sure that my sound is okay. Oh, don't want to spill water all over myself. How's everyone doing? I want to know how your day is going because this is a talk back, a conversation between you and me and Professor Meatball. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Nice sound. Do you guys like the RuneScape aesthetic? I use it for my subscribe button, and I think it's pretty fun. It's if any of you have played RuneScape in the past, that's something that I would like to know. All right, Josh is out of here. Josh, you can come back later, but you're in timeout currently. Let's see. Holding 360 AMC and 288 GME says Jonathan Shun. That's a cool last name. Yimke Vandenberg says, you're going to make me sell if you keep spamming. Oh, no. Don't spam. You're going to make Yimke sell. Let's see. Overbought and oversold. What do I mean by overbought and oversold? When I talk about overbought, it is when let's look at where's TSNP? So when I talk about overbought, TSNP for the longest time, actually today, was overbought because it is getting too much hype from the market. And if imagine if you had a really cool YouTube channel, right? And people just kept coming in and buying your course, let's say, right? If people started buying your course more and more, you're going to be like, oh, the price of my course is too low, and now I have to raise it, right? So you keep raising the price. That's what happens when people buy and buy and buy. It just raises the price over and over. That's what the inverse happened with Robinhood. When they restricted your buying, it killed the GameStop momentum because so many retail investors were involved in trying to buy the GameStop price to try to shoot it upward. What is happening with other stocks being, so any stock that's overbought will cause a price to start rising, and that means big danger because no stock can continue rising unless it has an actual like reason. Either one, it's overshorted and it needs to cover, right, like GameStop, or two, like it's an actual company that has actual technology like Apple or Facebook or anything else, right? So that is one of the biggest parts, is that if TSNP for example, is actually worth this much money with supposedly a team of engineers and supposedly a $250 million raised. That is $2.5 million of funding. Sorry, not 250. That would be awesome. However, enough skeptics come together and they would start selling because they think that the price is overvalued. So that is what overbought means. Too much momentum in the wrong direction will readjust itself as the free hand of the market intervenes. All right, let's see if everyone has started talking again now that Josh is on timeout. Let's see. Can we look at Sundial? Sure. Let's look at Sundial. Let's look at all the cannabis stocks. McClay says, do I think Bitcoin is in a huge bubble? Bitcoin is being bubbled up by institutions believing in it. So if you ever been like gassed up by somebody like, ooh, you're hot, you're doing good, you're awesome, but those people are actually like the most important wealthy people in the world, you might actually feel entitled to feel pretty hot, pretty cool. So in that sense, it's hard to say whether or not it actually deserves to be this price. That said, if you don't want the train to leave the station, I do recommend going and checking out that BlockFi link. Okay. Pew says, anyone know what happens with CTRM 1400% shorted shares? Is this right? Okay, let's look. Everyone keep the live chat going. I want to answer all your questions. Marketbeat.com. That's how you send links on this. You just take out the dot between the other stuff. All right, MarketBeat. So we got some short interest ratio and short volume. Wow. 1,400% shares shorted. Castor Maritime short interest rate. Oh, that's interesting. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at FINRA. FINRA. Last time we looked at FINRA, it was at AMC. Thank you, Diogo, for the super chat. We're actually missing a couple of treats. So we're missing a treat for 100 likes, 25 more likes until Meatball gets another treat. We're missing a treat for 150 likes, and we're missing a treat for Diogo's super chat. Thank you, Diogo. Appreciate that. Josh is back. Josh, why are you back? I thought I put you in timeout. All right, I'm going to have to hide you. You can come back tomorrow. But you are now officially hidden. Okay. Josh, you know we can't do financial advice on this channel. You're going to get me in trouble. All right, so the AMC short interest rate, 15%. Let's look at CTRM. Castor Maritime Inc. 7%. Well, it's not like I don't trust Market Beat, but this is really interesting. Is it because so we have 60% on the 29th? Someone added $42 million of shorts sold, and then are Elon Musk and Tesla running out of lithium? And then this is all from 2020. What is the current short interest? Short interest in the volume of Castor Maritime shares has been sold short, but has been yet covered or closed out. As of January 29th, traders have sold 35 million shares of CTRM short. Huh. How is this now making news? Okay, so Trey even talked about it last Monday. Castor Maritime squeeze will sink under a wave of share something. All right. Okay, I hate seeking alpha. Let's actually look at what WeBull has to say about CTRM. And in the meantime, let's keep chatting. Every day is a good day when GME is green. Hey, heck yeah. Rachel Gates Smith says, day's great. Been going skiing as soon as I can to pull myself away from charts. I do appreciate a good ski. Sound great, Andrew. Good day. It's Friday, says Colin. Bad news is markets closed for the weekend. Well, you can at least get a little bit of a break if you day trade on the regular. Inky says, cold in Texas. Stay safe. Having to melt your snow to flush your toilets is what one of the Congress people said. Hopefully you don't have to do too much of that, but really stay safe. Sorry about your water and your power situation. As if I had something to do with it. I'm tired of people saying sorry. You know, I'll take it back. Hope you do stay good though. Naughty, just like Citadel. I love that. Mind revisiting the March 19th idea? Sure. We can put that in the backlog. Andrew Mansfield says, man, I have faith in this GME. She and AMC. Theo says, how's the market looking overall today? I feel like next week is going to be hot. It's going to be hot for some reason, or one way or another. We never know when the market is going to take a down spiral altogether. But as of right now, market seems to be very green overall. Hey, another super. Thank you, Lady Pink. Ha ha ha. I like that sticker. If you guys aren't aware, I'm starting a new membership. I'm not sure if it's been, if it's like a thing quite yet, but you guys are gonna get like cool stickers and stuff. There's like cool tiers. The longer you stay a member, it's gonna be even cooler. So I'm just gonna, nothing else right now, but I'm just gonna put that out there as a thing that is coming soon. Good. Oh, it's been approved. All right, so it actually works already. Does it work? Can you guys press the join button? Those of you who are super chatting, I do appreciate it. But wouldn't it be cooler if you were a member instead? You get a bunch of cool flares. I'm working on giving you guys even cooler options. Click that join button if you want to join the Meatball Gain and support the channel directly. Casper says, is Gme over? I don't think so. If I did think so, I would be out of here. I'd be a paper hand, but I'm not a paper hand. I'm a diamond hand. Nimbus Nguyen says, how do we feel about how every time a good question was asked by Congress, they timed out and Melvin, Citadel, Robinhood didn't have a chance to answer? Coincidence or conspiracy? It's not a conspiracy. Oh, sorry. It's not a conspiracy because it's a long used tactic. You can even just see it from... I'm going to create a compilation of when Robinhood has dodged questions. I think that'll be a really fun compilation. But it's clear, even in the very beginning, when Maxine Waters was asking questions, that she was like, shut up. I want to hear a yes or no answer. And Vlad is like, oh, I don't. This is a hard question to answer. And like, no, you shut up. I need a yes or no answer. Honestly, it shouldn't be a 5-minute conversation. It should be everybody... like submits their questions to the chairwoman and then she asks all the questions, or they all submit it to the sassy Georgian representative who gets to talk like this real slow, and he just says as long as he needs until everybody's questions gets answered. I think that would make a lot more democratic sense, in my opinion. I don't know why we don't trust our representatives to do that. Because the debates, the presidential debates are already like that anyway. So how can CTRM be a more 100% shorted? Well, let me tell you. Let's say that I owe Meatball a treat, right? Because we just passed 200 likes. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to say, Meatball, these treats are yours. Look at his eyes. Here, I'm going to zoom in so that you guys can see his eyes. He's so cute. Okay. So I'm going to say, Meatball, these are your treats. But he doesn't get them yet. Right? Because what is going to happen is that I'm going to sell these treats back into the market, and then he now has to wait. And the longer he waits, the more interest I give him. How can I overshort? So that's a short, right? I sold the treats back to make a profit because I think the treats are going to cost less in the future. Maybe I have a coupon or something, right? If I decide to take the treats that from the person that I sold it to and then borrow it from them, and then sell those treats again, what do you think I just did? I overshorted that stock. It is now, if those were the only treats that ever existed, I have now 100% overshorted that stock. If I go ahead and short that same stock again by borrowing it from the person I sold it to and then selling it again to someone else, now 4 people think that they own the stock, right? Actually, 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. However many times I short the stock is how many people think that they own the stock. So therefore, that is how you can overshort a stock up to 1,400%. Now, is that report true? Do some more due diligence on understanding exactly whether or not it is valid. Maybe there's some other shenanigans happening. Can my face be a little less big? Okay. All right, back to it. What's going on, guys? If you guys are just joining the channel, hey, we talk here every day. We have a nice, friendly conversation. If you guys like that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that like button for me. Every 50 likes gets a treat for Meatball. Oh, yeah, Meatball, I'm finally going to cover my short. Wink. There you go, buddy. Okay. Joshua, what is the purpose of all the spam? Yeah, it's not like you can convince these people. These people already watch the show because they are diamond hand. They love the stock. Let's see. Andrew mentioned above, today GME is a delivery date, right? Yeah, we need to talk a little bit about that. GME delivery date. Sorry for those of you who don't like me typing. Over 5 million shares of GME failed to deliver. We got the SEC failed to deliver data over here. GameStop has same day delivery. Let us make sure that we're not missing any due diligence from Reddit real quick. Thank you, Lady Pink. Lady Pink, I want to read your comment as well. I have positions in CTRM that they just bought 3 new vessels for their transport will increase their revenue. Ah, I see. All right, best daily. Hold on, wait. GME Endgame Part 6. Okay, here we go. Wow. Okay. If you guys are welcome back to the channel. If you guys are curious about what is going on with GME after that hearing today, we have a big, humongous board of DD from WallStreetBets. If you guys aren't well acquainted with me yet, my name is Andrew. We're gonna have the GME ticker right down in the left-hand corner. It is up a ton from yesterday. Yesterday was at 40.69, closed out, and now it is already up nearly 10%. Well, it's closer to 7%, but we can fudge the numbers a tiny bit. Right now, we have a lot of DD about exactly what is happening with the big end game, the big reset, or the greatest financial crime in the century. Are you guys seeing me choppy? Hold on, let me just make sure. Show that rising green hill on GME. Yeah, the beautiful rising green hill. Look at that, beautiful. Look at that, beautiful. Hold on, I'm gonna replace my ice pack, and I'm gonna come back in a sec. All right, we're talking about GME here. Rise up. When you're living on GME, you rise up. You guys tell that I love Hamilton. Tell your brother that he's gotta rise up. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get going. What's going on? Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Today we're talking about GameStop. Look at that beautiful hill coming up over the valley. Now we do want to make a quick note here, a little bit of technical analysis. We see that GameStop had a major rise, about 10%, when our hero, our savior, Roaring Kitty, started talking at roughly yesterday. Now at the point of the rise was the greatest when he actually took the stage. It rose up all the way to like 47, 48 bucks, and then it did the same sundial Tilray magic hump all the way back down. And it actually continued to tumble throughout the hearing until it reached all the way down to 40.69. At this point, when market closed, it was mainly oversold. We see in the RSI here that it was dipped underneath 30. Now, as we are reaching the promised land, we are seeing the RSI start to dip above 70, which means that it is starting to become overbought, although that is not much of an issue for us. We are seeing some green candles around the board, and that is exactly what we're looking for. If this is the first time that we have not yet been acquainted, I do want to say we do a lot of research here on the channel. I do appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button, making sure that you smash that like button, turn it blue. And now I want to talk to you about what is going to happen with GameStop and how to plan it forward. This is an extension of this Redditor's DD series on GameStop. I have been investing, learning about, and following GameStop since September 2020, and in that time, this person's learned a lot of things. It is also likely their last post on GameStop for a while, as they find themselves repeating key points, and others are doing an excellent DD on GameStop in the meantime. In this post, they'll try to share as much understanding as they can about how we got there, about shorts, and about their thoughts on the future of GME. They also try to include many tips around trading and investing with GME going forward. Too long didn't read. The squeeze has been reset. Shorts have reset their short positions at much higher selling points, and longs have been likely cycled through. I don't believe a Volkswagen squeeze is possible because Robinhood will just get choked again, but I do believe GameStop is worth much more than $50 a share. Forget diamond handing. They're going to start accumulate shares again. I share below how they're trading with GameStop. This is a good point to say that none of these opinions are meant to be financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is just one Redditor's due diligence on exactly how they would approach GameStop moving forward. So as of right now, I have to say I do have a stake in GameStop, and I am not going to be swayed by this Redditor's opinion. I just want to fully share what this person has done in terms of their research. So previous important posts. Here are in-game part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. Here are a quick summary of exactly what happened before. DTC Infinity covered the short positions, the float, and potential snowball impacts of increasing prices, and argued that the part of the reason that shorts haven't closed was that it was pretty much impossible for shorts to close. Part 2 covered Cohen, fair market cap analysis, and potential investors, in which they talked about the amazing mid to long-term potential for GameStop. After the Citron tweet, they shared a fan fiction on what the blatant market manipulation by shorts on the day of the tweet, and they offered some education on strengthening your position. This one got buried, but it is worth reading. Endgame Part 3 covered the gamma squeeze, shady tactics by MMs, and some tips on staying safe. And then Part 4 covered the continued gamma squeezing and the resulting tenuous position of the 50 million shorts that were still in GME. And then 5, deleted by mods, but someone else posted in the comments, went into implications of the absolute mind effery trick that shorts pulled when they limited buying of GME and other heavily shorted stocks. If you guys did want to talk to me live, this is why we are on a live stream and exactly why we're talking about GameStop here. Important external reading. These 3 non-Reddit articles are critical for understanding the short playbook. This is essential reading if you want to understand how the funds that are short GME have been manipulated, directed by the DTCC to strong-arm Robinhood to halt buying on the 28th. The takeaway is that all of the core investigation needs to be happening with the DTCC and SEC to understand why the margin changes were forced upon Robinhood and who specifically asked for the buying halt on the 28th. They believe that shorts worked together with brokerages and the DTCC to rob investors of over $40 billion of value, and representing what is probably one of the greatest financial crimes of the century. So this is what the anatomy of a short attack looks like. Seeking Alpha article from 2014, flooding the offer side of the board, leveraging counterfeit shares, media assault. These are all different tactics that I mentioned in my what can the institutions do to drive down the price of the stock. If you guys are interested in that, I'll try to link it either up here or down below. Analyst reports, and then frivolous SEC investigations meant to distract the SEC. Very much like this one against Roaring Kitty. And so that is exact. And then finally, pulling margin from long customers. These are really important points. Illegal naked shorting is DTCC continuous net settlement and stock borrowing programs have loopholes that facilitate illegal naked shorting. Remember, this is a big naughty play. And we have a couple of bullet points here. There is an integral relationship between the DTCC and hedge funds on regulation SHO. However, Wall Street has a bag of tricks to get around this requirement, one of which is simply to ignore it. Another is to roll the position of another broker-dealer, oftentimes fails to deliver, can last for months or years. The SEC seems strangely unwilling or unable to enforce this provision of regulation SHO. And then finally, my favorite topic, phantom shares threaten U.S. companies and investors. This article is a bombshell. A former DTCC employee whistleblowing fraud in relationships with DTCC and short funds. I've explained this a lot of times before. It's essentially if you had a bad rating on Yelp because you put too many rats on your pizza for a pizzeria, and now you just decide to deliver pizza to yourself over and over again, giving yourself a 5-star rating each time. This inflates both the numerator and the denominator for your rating, and it makes it seem like your company doesn't serve rat pizzas, in which case a counterpoint, it definitely does serve rat pizzas. I'm trying to be the John Oliver of finance, if you guys haven't noticed with these weird analogies. What's happening with GME happened before with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, evidence that more shares were sold than ever existed. The main problem is that Reg SHO has no real teeth for enforcement. The brokers are never called to be responsible for their behavior. This is documentation of phantom shares and synthetic longs have been called out by the SEC since 2013. They just have known this. What is the point of like finger wagging and conjecture and calling people conspiracy theorists if this is actually documentation that they've known for a long time? Banks play by different rules. The SEC continued to declare that fails to deliver were not an indication of naked short selling. That changed when Goldman Sachs and other financial firms needed to be protected. Trimbath pointed out that not till the banks' broker-dealers began to see massive numbers of fails to deliver in their own shares did the SEC put a short selling ban in place, but only for the shares of banks, insurance companies, and securities firms, including the very culprits responsible for the dirty system. Naughty, as a la the representative from yesterday and Borat, who controls the DTCC. The answer is that banks and brokers who use DTCC services, who process trades there, who fail to deliver there, are insiders who sit on the DTCC board of directors. Seems like the question of who watches the Watchmen has been woefully answered in this question. History of shares and shorts on Gme. I see you guys on the live chat. Keep the live chat going. This is just going to have to be a clip that I'm going to cut up later. Here's some history on Gme that's worth knowing so you understand the context of where we are today. Gme used to have many more shares outstanding. Point in question. Back in 2009, there were over 160 million shares outstanding, and Gme has steadily been reducing the number of shares outstanding through buybacks and share retirements, concluding with a massive share 40% buyback in 2019, pushing Gme under 70 million outstanding shares. When you look at a price history chart, you need to factor this in. When Gme's share price was $50 in 2008, its market cap was actually $8 billion, not $4 billion like it is today at $50 a share. Gme used to be in the S&P 500. We used to forget. It was added in December 2007 when it had around an $8 billion market cap and removed in April 2016. It had a nice long 9-year run when its market cap had dropped to $3 billion. In 2016, there were about 25 million plus shares shorted of Gme. It's very likely Gme was shorted out of the S&P. Short interest did not decrease after share buybacks. In 2019, Gme bought back and retired 40% of their shares, yet amazingly, the short interest increased. How is it possible that shorted shares, if not naked, did not have to find new borrows to cover? How could they have found $30 million borrows in such a short period? So, how were the shorts able to increase their short position by 20 million shares in such a short period of time? No pun intended. In July 2019, Gme bought back and retired 10 million shares. At the same time, shorts increased their short positions by 20 million shares. How is this possible? How could they have borrowed 20 million more shares while shares are being retired and removed from float? Well, here it comes. Shorts did not close at $3 because of a tax loophole. Shorts had been shorting Gme since well over $40 a share in 2015. By April 2020, Gme had dropped to under $3 and shorts were sitting on billions in profits. So why not take the profits? A little known tax loophole allows hedge funds to pay no taxes if a company they shorted goes bankrupt, as they not need to close the trade, so the profit is not realized. This is mind-blowing. Taxation on companies is exactly how everything stays regulated, right? And that's where the Democrats are trying to push their bill of transaction-based taxes, so that at the very least, when the hedge funds and the large players try to pull something like this, then they can't. But this also hurts the individual seller and the retail investor as well. However, this is something that is very annoying, right? They don't pay any taxes if they short a company to bankruptcy. They are incentivized heavily to do exactly that. So that's where all of our troubles came from the first place. Many of the major short funds are disciples of Steve Cohen, who previously paid billions to settle insider trading charges. Mapleine Capital, Melvin, others are all Steve Cohen cronies. Who bailed out Melvin? Steve Cohen. There are many strange connections between DTCC's actions and shorts. As you know, DTCC and SEC put a gun to Robinhood's head, demanding billions in liquidity to support their customers buying Gme. At that point, more than 50% of Robinhood users had Gme. Now, it's important to note that Vlad is not really doing himself any favors by making himself seem so bad at answering yes or no questions, but it is the big point, right? We're looking at a crony, Vlad, the skinny Adam Driver, the evil Keanu Reeves. He is essentially did have a gun pointed to him at that time and say, hey, don't buy any more Gme, right? And since he folded, he does have a part of the culpability in this sense. Robinhood is only worth about $10 billion. The amount asked for from the DTCC was likely to drive Robinhood into the ground if they had not found a solution. And their solution was I guess just caved. Key question, who suggested the buying halt? Was it Vlad? Or did the DTCC suggest a buying halt as a negotiation tactic to reduce the liquidity requirements? Sounds very much like a turn off buying or else kind of arrangement. Keep in mind that at this point, shorts were at the verge of losing upwards of $50 billion as GME was well on its way over $500 a share. So Citadel didn't care about shooting down Robinhood. It's a minor toe amputation to save their leg. Citadel, having to answer for a lot of these questions, really ended up being a bigger bad in the sense of having two people in a room and one person clearly reading off of a teleprompter very slowly with 5 other people helping him in that room. The 4 a.m. call with the DTCC happened 2 days after Citadel and 0.72 bailed out Melvin, and 1 day after the put-call ratio for GME flipped 3-to-1 for puts. Not only was this coordinated, shorts knew this was coming and profited from it. If a regulator, lawmaker, SEC agent could figure out who bought those puts, you'd know something interesting. So we're going to keep that going because this story gets deeper from here. So we have to understand why GME went up. Many pundits in the media were extremely confused why the price of GME got so high, so let this redditor try to explain. First, the current price of an equity is just the last traded price. This is a very, very critical piece you need to understand. When there are 70 million shares outstanding and 1 million shares get traded back and forth multiple times a day, the price you see is just the price of the active float trading back and forth. This is why many technical traders pay very close attention to volume. Now, when there's high trading volume relative to total float, it's easier to believe the price is more reflective of actual underlying value. In the case of GME, supply and demand is the critical driver of price. As they mentioned in Endgame Part 1, the true supply of GME shares, tradable float, is ridiculously low. The demand side comes in 4 parts. 1, value buyers, right? People who like DFV, who saw a company at $4 valued less than 1 year cash flow and decided to tell the world about how great of an opportunity this was back when you could buy it back at that low of a price. Squeeze buyers, people and funds that smell blood in the water and bought shares in anticipation of someone needing to pay more. And that's what a lot of the theory, the data science, like actual econometrics that we talked about on this channel, some of you might be squeeze buyers waiting for that squeeze. Shorts covering shorts that needed to or wanted to buy as the trade went against them, and then hedging. Repeated gamma squeezes that had outsized impact on price due to the low underlying liquidity of GME. For normal equity, most of the demand side does not exist. Low supply plus high demand equals high price, right? This is as simple as economics gets. That's why GME shot up. If I'm the one selling a YouTube course and it's selling like hotcakes, right? A high demand, low supply. There you go. Perfect time to raise the price. A big reset. This wasn't just a squeeze. This was a massive reset on investors long and short for GME. Any SEC filings, 13G or 13F, shows positions prior to February 1 are irrelevant other than insider positions. It's very likely many longs liquidated during the squeeze and likely many shorts covered. Some of those longs that liquidated may reinvest, but some of the shorts that covered may re-short. So shorts that were given a huge bailout, whereas they previously were sitting on losses upwards of $50 billion, they were instead able to close positions at much lower share prices, with GME currently sitting at $49 a share, a 90% reduction from its peak of $500 a share prior to the buying halt on the 28th. This is not the end of GME. Everything started with a value on GME. At $50, we're coming back to a value play. GME's market cap is now under $4 billion. Remember that GME has over $1 billion in e-commerce revenue alone every year, and e-commerce is growing at 300%. For more on market cap potential, go see Endgame Part 2 or the excellent GMEDD.com. Nothing that happened in the last few weeks had changed the core fundamentals of the business or the prospects for a Cohen-led revitalization. So if you were in this for Cohen at $20 to $35, we're not too far off from that right now. If people can afford to hold their shares, the float continues to shrink. Wild cards remain. In order to of decreasing the likelihoods, this is going to be the most likely. Cohen still needs to buy his 7%. He's likely waiting for a good signal from the board that he's going to be CEO, as well as a good entry point. The officers added to the company on the board also need to buy their shares. They are not buying in at squeeze entry points. Key points are when insiders buy shares, their shares are removed from the lending pool. This is part of the GME corporate bylaws, by the way. They believe that this is likely triggered Squeeze 1.0, as that happened roughly 2 days after Cohen's 9 million shares were likely recalled when he got added to the board. Regulatory involvement, it's slightly less likely, but it's really unlikely the SEC is going to step up and enforce their own rules. But hey, if they did, we might see some reductions in fails to deliver and a blatant naked shorting happening with GME. However, even more unlikely is a share recall for vote. There's a number of reasons this could happen, but it's unlikely if this were to happen, non-naked shorts would need to cover. This is what we've been trying to call for a long time, trying to get them through their voicemail and trying to email their investor relations, and then people moving out of Robinhood to brokers that can stop lending their shares. After this, I moved a few shares out of Robinhood. I didn't realize they were being lent out to shorts, and Robinhood was pocketing the difference. So you can only get Robinhood to stop lending your shares if you move to a cash account. But interestingly, Robinhood's instructions on how to downgrade a cash account has disappeared from their site. So if you really want to stay on Robinhood, that's a way to go about it. Or if you want to move to a WeBull, where you have a lot more flexibility on what you can do with your money and how you can prevent Robinhood from shorting and causing the situation again, go ahead and check out my link down below and use WeBull to get 2 free stocks. I think it's just a good investment in your future because it's the same technical tool that I was showing in the beginning of this video. So how are we thinking about GME right now? This is going to sound extremely strange, but they have never been more excited to lose money. They are currently holding several thousand shares in GME, but their position is only 25% of their desired position, and they cannot wait to buy GME at lower prices. They hadn't bought any shares since $35, wow, and sold on the way up to take some profit. But they're slowly starting to add again around $50 with the profits they made from trimming on the way up. When it got above their price target, they shared in part 2 of $125. None of this squeeze drama, broker drama, etc. changes the fundamentals of the company and why they were bullish in the first place. They think that in the core short thesis of GME is another blockbuster destined for death is dumb, and we like the stock. They think that Cohen is going to cause a future re-rating of the company. Since part 2, some interesting developments have happened at GME, including the addition of new officers of the company, one Chewy exec and one ex-Amazon exec as a new CTO. They strongly believe that Cohen has a strong chance of becoming CEO, and they don't think that they would have been able to add the talent recently if it had not been for Cohen, and the creation of a tech officer position is a clear signal that they are thinking about how to run the company changing. Think about it. What a blockbuster with a website, if it was just a blockbuster with a website, why would they need a CTO? Big plans are afoot. $4 billion for GME is cheap. That being said, they're hoping for a further dip. They're selling puts from 40 down to 10, hoping to score as many cheap shares as they can and try to take advantage of all the still insanely high IV. Final suggestions for if you guys are in the same boat. This is going to be a long flight. This is going to be a long fight. It is painful for all of us, regardless of your cost of entry, because longs would have won the battle had the market remained free. Instead, funds clearinghouses brokers colluded to restrict buying and eliminated the demand side of the market. Here's some thoughts on managing your GME positions going forward. Take advantage of IV while it is still high. While IV is still high, sell puts if you want to sell calls to reduce your cost basis. For example, they sold 226 9p for like 5 cents. That's a 6% return on capital in less than a month. And either they own GME at $9, awesome, or they keep the premium, also good. They personally believe that we will not be allowed to squeeze unless regulators step in and open the market here, which is not going to happen quickly, if ever. That's what the GME hearing was mainly trying to do. See if the market could be opened up and make sure that Robinhood can never do this again. Doesn't seem like that they chastised Robinhood CEO enough because he just didn't want to answer a yes or no question. They also sold some November 70p for $42. Let me explain this trade for those of you who don't sell puts normally. Selling puts gets a bad rap of pennies in front of a steamroller, but this is not the case with GME if you do it right. Someone paid him $4,200 now for a requirement that they would be forced to buy 100 shares of GME at $70 in November, right, $7,000. So they have to put aside $2,800 of his own capital to secure this put. In 2 scenarios, in this mind, this is a trade that can't go. I can't say that word, but there are also downside risks. Have your price target. Have your own price target, right? You couldn't keep riding the train up as much as that would cause the squeeze to happen. We all have a prisoner's dilemma that we have to keep in mind. Keep a valuation target in mind below which you believe it makes sense to add and above which it makes sense to trim. If you are in need of some research, see gmedd.com. And they also wrote a long-term bull targets in Endgame Part 2. Buy low, not high, folks. Don't FOMO. Stop sharing your positions publicly. I know this is anti-Wall Street bets, but I think sharing them is great for this community. But in the case of GME, it's an attack vector for you. This is why I very rarely share my actual portfolio. Be careful of holding weeklies until expiration. Remember the multiple trading halts. What if trading gets halted on Friday at 2 p.m. and doesn't resume for the rest of the day? All of your calls would expire worthless depending on your broker and your cash positions, maybe even your ITM ones. Roll or sell if you're taking profits, your weeklies well before expiration. Get out of Robinhood. Do it now. It is a raging fire. While Robinhood was just a pawn, in their opinion, why would you want to use a broker that could F you so easily? They lend your shares to shorts and they don't pay you for it, margin call you when you're winning, sell your shares at absolute lows, and pass all your data to Citadel. They don't think that free commissions is really free. Robinhood is worse for you, for your financial future. Go ahead and put your money into WeBull instead. A lot of the same restrictions had happened, but when the GME restrictions happened, they did it later and they pulled the restrictions earlier. So that's one of the things that WeBull has to offer, especially since they are not going to be the ones in the next part of the GME series that screws everyone over. Minimize regret, don't maximize profitability. They sold some shares early on the way up to take out their cost basis and some profit. They missed all the peaks, never sold any shares above 400, and holding out for maximum profit led to a bit more regret when things went the wrong way. Minimize regret. Make sure to sell pieces at a time up on the way. Don't bet more than they can afford to lose. They've been in GMEs long enough to know that just when you think going up is a sure thing, you can be surprised by a new trick. If you bet it all in weeklies all at once, you may not be able to recover from being wrong on the timing. Consider longer expiry or spreading out your purchases. They've held through multiple 50% plus drawdowns in the underlying. You need to be ready for the volatility. And then the last 3 points, watch out for stop loss hunts. It's a common practice for shorts to hunt for stop losses for cheap shares. If you've set up a stop loss, be really sure about it, and then don't sell in the dips. Buy the dips. You're only helping the shorts. If you need to sell to take profits, sell when it's heading up. Sell high, not low. It's simple math. All of you who are wondering whether you should sell GME at the very lowest point of yesterday's hearing, it's a simple question. Don't sell on the dips. Not financial advice, but this is investment sense. Save dry powder to buy on dips. Dips manufactured by shorts are buying opportunities. Take advantage of folks with paper hands to capture shares at low points. GME has incredible daily volatility. Set a low limit buy and just wait for the order to fill. Have patience when buying. This is not financial advice. Do your own DD, of course. They've been holding to what previously was valued at over $1 million in shares and calls, and they added 1,500 shares these last 2 weeks, as well as sold hundreds of puts to either capture 6 figures of premium or buy 7 figures worth of GME at price points I find attractive. And then finally, there are some really great questions about what Chairwoman Maxine Waters should have asked. I'm thinking about this is going to be a video by itself. If you guys like that content, go ahead and smash the like button because we like the stock. Do it for the GME ticker symbol down below. And as well as for me, I really appreciate a subscribe. For Meatball, look at him. Look at him. He's so cute. He is going to be so sad if you don't subscribe. And for now, but not for forever, peace. All right, so that was some GME talk. 700 of you are here. I missed a bunch of your live streams, but look at that. So as I was talking, GME went back up to 43, and then it started to sell off again. And now it is at a new level of support, which is very good, right? We like to see that. If you guys go out a tiny bit, we see that this level of resistance is because it was previously a level of support. And if we see that this level of support is actually higher than this level, especially this level, we actually might see that this could start moving upwards again. Of course, micro scale, be really careful when you are trying to bet the house on small movements. Okay. Zero asked me, will the hearing carry on today? No. I believe that Maxine Waters gave everyone like a couple of business days to gather their stuff. TurboLag says, decided to check out BlockFi. Why does it take so long to transfer funds? Is it just me? It's been 6 days and counting to transfer $100. If you want money to transfer right, that's why it takes a while. But I should probably start doing it myself, actually. Financial report end of March may bring positive news and spark momentum, but of course anything can happen in the meantime. Let's see. I agree this does require some regulation, says Lady Pink here. When it comes to shorting, one congresswoman did hit that point hard. Yes, exactly. That was amazing. Mario DeMarco, I have literally no stake in this. I've been a bystander from the beginning. I've seen some of the shadiest techniques being used to sway people. I am hoping someone is accountable for this. If you are not a bag holder and you got to have all this investment information, all this education, I applaud you, because the tuition of GME was steep. That's the cost. If you put in like $10,000, that's the cost of like a coding boot camp nowadays, right? So you guys definitely are. If you guys are just a bystander, you definitely made some money back. Patrick Guitt says, seeing how Tesla makes no profit, but Bitcoin is just ones and zeros, GME can be worth more than $4,000. That might be a logical fallacy, but I like your gusto. D3 Hit says, P more than likely the publicity it received yesterday that's circulating today, and there is a short restriction today, so they can't mess with the price as much. Good to see. Daniel Lopez, if it was a liquidity problem, wouldn't they need to stop trading for all their securities? I mean, if someone doesn't have money, then they wouldn't have money for all things. It's kind of like saying, I don't have enough money, I can't buy my Froyo today, is what they're trying to say, right? Instead of like, I don't have money, I guess I have to default on my mortgage. That's not what they wanted to say. Funzone says, Andrew with his voice work. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. GME to 44. Wow, you guys have noticed the Bitcoin is almost 54,000. It is getting a little bit overbought with this RSI, but of course, Bitcoin has never really followed the RSI trends. Wow, this past week has just been crazy for Bitcoin recently. As long as BlockFi takes, I think it would just be more costly to not try and get your money slowly trickling into BlockFi. It just takes a second. You click the link, you go over there, you you go get your money. Let me see if I can do it. Sign up. Let's see how hard it is. BlockFi. I got my legal next name. Referral code seems to be partner 250 every time. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully the BlockFi link is working. If not, I'm gonna get mad. Okay, so let's keep. It's been about an hour and a half. I do want to come back a little later today. So for the time being, all of you guys that are chilling with me, let me set up a little bit more of a technical analysis. Give you guys a little bit of more information to chew on. I do want to cover exactly what the questions were that they wanted to ask. Yeah, let's do that real quick. So we do have these questions. If I were Maxine Waters, what would I ask during the SEC hearing? Put GME back up there. And this will be the last thing that I do today, and then we'll come back a little later today, or at the very least with some awesome clips. Dear Vlad, have they had much of a dramatic margin increase request from DTCC before? How much time have previous requests been given to accommodate versus this one? Who suggested the solution of restricting buying? Was it Robinhood or suggested by DTCC as a concession in return? This is a lot of questions. Plumpkin. That's funny. What's going on, you guys? A lot of you have been asking What's going on, you guys? My name is Andrew. A lot of you have been asking the important question of, hey, the hearing didn't seem like it carried a lot of punch. It seems like a lot of questions got timed out and that Vlad wasn't ready to answer a lot of the questions. Well, what if a perfect hearing happened? Well, we have a list of very hard-hitting questions that Maxine Waters and the other representatives like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and everyone else could have asked. And that's what we're going to go and cover right here in this video. If you do like it, go ahead and smash that like button and let's get started. On February 18th, Congress will be interviewing Robinhood, Melvin, Citadel, and DFV. Here are the questions that this Redditor would love to be asked with its answers aired out in public under oath. Dear Vlad, who is the CEO of Robinhood, have they ever had such a dramatic margin increase request from DTCC before? How much time have previous requests been given to accommodate versus this one? Who suggested the solution of restricting buying? Was it Robinhood or suggested by DTCC as a concession in return for a reduced margin requirement? What other solutions were explored and why were they not pursued? That is the crux of the question that they should have been asking. Who was the person who decided to restrict buying? If it was you, we have all the right mind to be angry at you. But if it was them, then why not send the hate their way unless you are, under some sort of NDA to not talk about this agreement? Number 4, to his knowledge, are there any historical, professional, or other relationships between the decision makers in the DTCC to the funds that were shorting GME? Almost turned to Smeagol. Number 5, what is preventing this from happening again? Should GME's price rise again to $500 a share or more? Now, Vlad tried to answer this last time. He says that we have a good amount of funds raised now to try and buffer this so it doesn't happen next time. I don't think that if we had an infinite squeeze, for example, that he would be able to cover this again. Be really careful. That Vlad almost didn't answer a single question. I'm about to create a compilation of how often he refused to answer a question. But for now, just understand that these questions would have been a lot better. But here is a question for Kenny Griffin. Kenneth Griffin, Kenny G, he is a Citadel CEO. Could you explain the reasons for your bailout of Melvin Capital? Can you just tell us? What is your relationship with Melvin? And we'll get to you, Melvin, in a second. Number 2, how many members of the DTCC are former Citadel employees? It's kind of like putting your crooks onto the board of the place that now gets to bail out the people. It's a bit of a relationship that doesn't make any sense. Number 3, did you or anyone in Citadel communicate with DTCC prior to their margin charge changes in Robinhood? If so, what were the nature of these communications? Number 4, what positions did Citadel take against GME prior to the buying halt of the 28th? Would have been great to hear that. Number 5, did Citadel share any of its order flow data with the hedge funds shorting GME? Number 6, did Citadel have any communications with Robinhood senior management in the weeks leading up to the 28th? Honestly, if these questions were on the main chopping board for the representatives in question, honestly, they could have just sourced the questions they wanted to ask from Reddit, especially some of the ones that were just a little bit more bombastic. A voice of the people, they really should have considered these questions. But finally, we have Mr. Melvin himself, Mr. Plumpkin. Please explain how shorts are able to are short greater than the outstanding float of an equity. And then they would have to point to one of my videos, and then that would seem very sus that you can have one piece of dog food that belongs to multiple dogs. Short interest increased by 20 million shares in July 2019. Did Melvin increase their short position in that time frame? If so, please explain how you were able to borrow shares when 40% of GME's float was bought back. This is highly suspicious. Number 3, please explain the method by which hedge funds do not pay taxes when they have a short on a company that has gone bankrupt. This honestly would have gotten a huge amount of press. This generally would have essentially blown up the case. It's like common knowledge, which they try to do a couple of times. It's just like, what happens when people buy stocks and then they can't sell, or they can only sell, they can't buy. Simple economic stuff, but this would have really illuminated the incentives behind trying to short GameStop until it went bankrupt. Number 4, are any members of the DTCC former members of the Melvin Capital? Hey, if not, please share what communications between the DTCC and Melvin Capital the weeks leading up to the 28th. What are those emails? We need to understand what is on paper. Number 5, did you have any agreements written or otherwise with other major shorts of GME? In other words, Maple Capital. Number 6, there were 6,000 short-term puts purchased within 30 minutes prior to Citron's tweet announcing their pending agreement pending argument against GME. Did Melvin Capital purchase any puts on that day in that time frame? Timing is everything, and especially in this scenario. Number 7, what are the arrangement between Citron and Melvin Capital? Number 8, have you ever paid for media placements against GME? Number 9, please explain why you could state that you have closed your short positions when your recent filings say otherwise. This was one of the most important questions, is that like he kept saying I closed my short positions, blah, 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 blah. Have you? Why can you say that if your recent filings do not agree? Number 10, did Melvin open short positions on XRT when they closed their short GME positions? This is one of my biggest videos right now. It's really important to understand how shorts can be hidden in ETFs. Number 11, please explain your process to locate borrows for shorts. With whom in DTCC do you cooperate with? Who are you talking to? And number 12, finally, but not least importantly, has Melvin Capital ever been forced to buy to close short positions as a result of regulation SHO fails to deliver? Fails to deliver is a big topic right now. If you guys had any questions, I'm going to put that into a clip as well, and for you guys to check it out. If you guys want to ask me a question live, I try to do live streams every morning and answer you guys one by one. And if you guys like this channel, I would appreciate a like for the YouTube algorithm to be defeated, as well as hitting that subscribe button and making sure that you jump off with Robinhood, because it is a sinking ship. Go ahead and get into WeBull with one of my links, as well as getting your naughty $250 in BlockFi. Free Bitcoin, baby. For now, but not for forever. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Okay, I'm gonna be here a little bit longer just to make sure I read some of your comments. Let's see. Meatball is the new Dogecoin. Okay, look at guilt. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andrew. As always, buy, hold the line, even if it's part of history. On what subreddit is this post? This is on WallStreetBets. Hey, Andrew. Hey, all. What's up, Mike C? Yes or no, Mr. Canless? Yes or no? Mustafa says, I like the channel. Heck yeah. Theriel says, did you read the post about the effect of puts for ending less than $40 today? I have not yet. If you send me that in Instagram, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I'm trying to get past 1,000 followers. Maybe I already have. If you guys know anything about this channel, I'm trying to get past 10,000 subs. We've gotten 1,000 subs a day for the last 2 days. Let's make this day 3, baby. If you guys like the channel, like I just said to all of you, but it wasn't meant for all of you. It was meant for when I turned that live stream into a clip later. I do appreciate every single subscribe. I do appreciate every single comment. As of right now, I'm trying to, I have successfully replied to every single comment on this channel. But when we get to the future, I might only be able to respond to publicly subscribed members. So if you guys want to join, press that join button down below. Start telling Professor Meatball how much you appreciate his investigative journalism. And this is the real one for now, but not for forever. I appreciate you guys waking up with me each morning, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.